Sorry guys, busy as normal.
Mike Nolan,
Yes.
Diane Schultz,
Yes.
Anthony Campbell,
Yes.
Barb Thomas,
Yes.
Trevor Warner,
Yes.
Mary Wild,
Yes.
5-0, you have a quorum.
We stand for pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Does anybody want to do invocation?
Why not? Heavenly Father, we praise you today just for the great and awesome God that you are. Thank you for these individuals here tonight who have a desire to make the city better, find ways to economically and using wisdom to help protect the citizens of this great city. We're going to pray now for a blessing on this meeting tonight, and that we'll all be in one accord, and that everything we do will be pleasing to you, and again helping others, which is the call for all Christians. Give you the praise for who you are, through control of all things. In Christ's name we pray.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. What's your name, sir?
Mike Freeman.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So, thanks, good. Are you still there?
I'm still there.
Okay.
Not right now, but I was there all day.
Hey, before we get a motion to adopt the agenda, you're going to give us a little presentation too, right?
Yeah, I can answer some questions and kind of give you some ideas here.
Just a short bit. So we'll need to, an agenda for
Make a
that.
motion and amend the agenda to have Mike give us a presentation and
Bart.
presentation.
I'll second that.
Hey, guys, sorry, one more thing. Business license too, you guys added that in there.
And
And
inclusion license license.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Diane Schultz,
Yes.
Anthony Campbell,
Yes.
Barb Thomas,
Yes.
Mike Nolan,
Yes.
Trevor Warner,
Yes.
Mary Wild,
Yes.
5-0, you have 5-0, carried.
I make a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
Make the motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
Okay.
Do you guys want to let them talk first? We'll go in close, so.
Okay. Diane Schultz,
Yes.
Anthony Campbell,
Yes.
Barb Thomas,
Yes.
Mike Nolan, Trevor Warner,
Yes.
Mary Wild, motion carries 7-0.
If you want, Mike, you go ahead.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Approve the minutes.
Oh, shoot. Get my notes up, guys. Sorry.
That's okay.
Excited.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for August 26th.
I'll second that. Thank you, guys.
And that was Trevor. And who's second?
I did it.
Diane Schultz.
I recuse myself, I was absent.
Okay. Anthony Campbell,
Yes.
Barb Thomas.
I abstained, I was not present.
Okay. Mike Nolan,
Yes.
Trevor Warner,
Yes.
Mary Wild,
Yes.
motion carried 4-0.
All right, first topic up, we're going to let Mike Freeman give us a little presentation on vehicles, correct?
Yeah, the question was brought up to me. I received a call, in fact, I visited about. Ford has a program called a municipal finance program, and it's specifically designed to help counties and city governments, small, large, whatever that may be, offer them a place to finance vehicles. Now, here's the reality. I will tell you that, I'm not here to sell you vehicles now. I'm here to answer some questions. Okay, we've got on to serve the city as well as the county and our entire county when it comes to the municipalities and provision needs. But however, this is specifically about a finance program that's offered, okay? So I encourage you, number one, try to keep your money in your town if you can. If your local banks will offer you a similar program like this, you need to do it. I know the Pulaski County has done the same thing. I've given the same presentation, I've told them about it, and they have time chosen to go with local bank of Crawford, Bank of Liberia, whoever that may be, to finance their vehicles. Here's what the municipal finance program is about. Ford Credit will do a finance program for a municipality, and the key part of this, they have what's called a non-appropriation clause in their contracts. And what a non-appropriation clause is if in an event where a city does not, or a county or municipality does not have the financial means to continue a payment on an automobile, they allow you out of contract. It's called a non-appropriation. Now, you never want to enter into a contract, assuming that's going to happen, but the reality of it is these things can happen, especially with tax revenue. So how it works, you select a vehicle that you're going to purchase. It has to be new. And then whatever that product may be, Ford Credit then will finance that product for you underneath annual payments, semi-annual payments, quarterly payments, or monthly payments. And then every year during your contract, you can finance for a 2-year or a 5-year contract. And then every year, if that municipality was in a position where it said, we can't continue on, we're not in a financial position to continue making payments, they'll allow you out of it. So it's called a lease, but don't let the word lease scare you. There is no mileage restrictions, there's no use restrictions. It's your vehicle. And at the end of the term, you own it for $1 bill. So it's defined as a lease only as a terminology, but the key part of this is a non-appropriation portion of this, where if you're in a financial position next year, you say we can't continue to pay for this vehicle, you can get out of the contract. Now, Ford Credit naturally has to approve the loan, the stability of the municipality. They also will review to make sure is the tax revenue not there to be able to be able to support that ongoing need. Most of their leases they do generally are on police cars. Most of them are on police cars, but they'll do trucks, they'll do salt spreaders, they'll do heavy trucks, they'll do garbage trucks, they'll do whatever your needs for a municipality. So that's what this is about. I understand that the city's in a dire need right now for police cars, and I understand you've been solicited or reached out to Blue Fuse Ford out of St. Louis. They have a contract with the state of Missouri. I cannot get vehicles for them for you in this program. So number one, I couldn't satisfy those needs from Blue Fuse. I could not get them those vehicles. They have a contract with the state of Missouri. But you can still, if the city desires to say, we want a police car, and we got to have one now. You've got a source to get it. Ford Credit will offer you the financing with the non-appropriation clause. Now, if your local bank will support you in doing that, and I encourage you to look into that, I strongly encourage you to look into that, but they may not have a non-appropriation clause. That's the only key benefit of the program. Go ahead.
This isn't just strictly related to police vehicles, but it could also be used for maintenance vehicle purposes. I heard you say salt spreader, et cetera.
Correct. It's a vehicle specific. It has to be on a vehicle. In other words, you couldn't just go buy a dump bed and put it in the program. The dump bed could be put on a truck.
No, I'm talking
Yeah.
about an actual vehicle.
Yeah, you're right.
And it specifically has to be a Ford?
It is Ford. It's a Ford credit program. That's a good question.
Non-taxable to the city because the city doesn't pay taxes.
That's correct. It is no different than your current situation. You don't pay taxes on a product now. None of that changes. It's just a finance source is all it is. Now,
You guys deal with bidders regularly, or?
do we personally, generally when I get a solicitation for a bid from a school or county, usually I'm provided with a chassis, and then they've already did their research saying, okay, this is what we're going to get from Napa High or bus sandwiches, whatever it may be. But that can be added to the finance of the vehicle.
Okay, it doesn't have to go through you.
Does not. Does not. You can just tell me here's what it is and here's the total amount. That adds to your cost. You finance it with them with the non-appropriation clause.
I like that non-appropriation clause,
That's the key advantage.
especially if the city gets in financial hardship
Right.
and, you don't have the recourse of breach of contract.
They would no different than we as a consumer, if we open up a loan with a bank and got a financial need, that they would review it, but that is the key ingredient of this. Now, what I have found when the county has talked to me about that in the past from different individuals, that sometimes the rates aren't as aggressive as that local bank's going to give you. So that's why I encourage you.
What is the average rate?
They rate it by no different than a consumer. They rate it by the municipality. So to answer that question, I cannot, because I'm not fully credit.
I understand.
So I wish I could answer that. I do not know. And it's only because it's a court of that municipality, how many contracts have been done. And you have to have a fleet account with Ford. Now, the City of Dixon at one time had a fleet account. I looked at it today. It's now actually been inactive, but it's very easy to reinstate it. You'll contact Ford Credit, our former company. I can provide that information to you. They will ask some information from the city. They'll maybe know some vehicles it's currently having. It's easy. Yeah.
Now, what are the benefits of the fleet account?
What's that again?
What are the benefits of the fleet account?
Gigantic savings.
I'm
See,
gonna say it again.
big savings. So like, that's a good question. So in the state of Missouri, anybody in the state of Missouri that is a municipality, county, city, state, okay, Ford companies will give fleet incentives on a brand new vehicle that goes towards the purchase for that municipality. That can be school, okay, anything that's tax related, ambulance districts, fire districts, it all falls underneath that. They just have to have a fleet count. So I'll give you an idea we looked at a question about maybe as a truck, as a police vehicle for the city. There's $9,000 in fleet incentives. That's not deal. $9,000 on a truck, specific half-ton truck. Now, three-quarter ton and stuff, it will vary by product line. So fleet is very, very, very good for you. Now, is it more money? I'm going to tell you what the City of St. Robert has started doing. And now you can't do this with police cars. Here's why, and I'll get to the reason why in a second. But they are finding if they can roll their fleet on the replacement of their Super Duty or half-ton trucks, their salt spreaders, their whatever, just the utility trucks. For every couple of years, they're changing their fleets out. Now that has nothing to do with the finance program. But here's why that works. The truck market is so strong. If you're buying a new vehicle on a fleet so cheap, let's say cheap, $35,000, and then 2 years later that used truck still worth $25,000, you're trading for about $5,000 a year. So they're keeping their inventory traded out, and they're not driving things around at 200,000 miles.
Right. And
That's the benefit.
Depreciation.
Now, that's right. You got it. Now the difference is, guys, you can't do that with a police car. Because there's no market for a police car unless it is sheriff, whatever. There's no market for that vehicle. Nobody's driving around in police cars with spotlights on the side of them. You get my point. There's 1% of it.
I have a question. Let's go back to police cars.
Yes.
Let's say we have an accident in one, the insurance will not cover the full value of what the loan is. How does that work before?
That would be on the city. So
the city will have to pay the difference?
that'd be no different than you as a consumer.
Okay.
So the insurance is still on the municipality responsible for insuring it, making sure that, the upkeep, all that is yours. It's your vehicle. Think of it not as a lease, but as a separate way to finance the vehicle. That's all it is.
Is there a standard warranty still the same?
Nothing changes on that. It's whatever the warranty is for the company. Think of it as a bank with the non-corporation.
Are there any current cities in our surrounding area that are using this?
Because they are getting their own.
Okay.
Okay. So that's why I said very specifically, look at your local banks. Now, I know nothing about the city's financial stability, but this is one of the strong benefits of the non-corporation clause. That's the only benefit, guys.
We would still get the fleet price even though we went with a different finance company.
Sure.
Would we not?
That has nothing, yeah, this is a finance story.
I didn't know if that was
Good
a
question.
Long as it's attachment.
But listen, Dodge had the same program.
Hey, Ford is the number one selling truck in the USA.
I just had a doctor.
Yeah, let's just keep it on task.
The reality of it is, any brand out there has fleet incentives from municipalities, Chevrolet, Dodge, Ford. They all The only real key benefit of this municipal finance program is the non-appropriation cost. It's just a bank loan money.
That's great.
About being able to get vehicles to keep them really local, if you would want to keep them really local.
Well, what I always do for the schools and such, when they buy a vehicle from us, we're always ordering that vehicle. The time frame generally on a turnaround order is 3 to 4 months. If you're in a dire need situation, like for a police car, I can't get you a police car like that. Now, I may have vehicles as alternative sources for you in inventory that can fit your needs, but it's not going to be a police interceptor car. Okay?
Well, let me ask you, will those leases that they turn over and turn back in, if they were a police car, wouldn't that suffice for a substitute until?
Well, that's your city's decision.
Yeah.
So city decided to buy a pre-owned.
I just wondered what you did with those vehicles.
We never take those in on trade. That's why when I talk about on a police car, let's call it a Charger or a Ford Taurus or the old Crown Victoria, whatever it may be, those vehicles, when they go to the auctions, the people that buy them say they're not here. Because John Doe out here doesn't go out and buy a police car to drive around every day. Now, you'll see that occasionally, that's because they're just finding that's what we got. But if there's not a market for it, a truck that comes out of the city's use, if it's got desirable and life in it, there's a demand for a truck. Everybody wants a truck, whether it's a farm truck, whatever that may be. That's a difference between a police car and this, okay? But it's, again, 2 different conversations. This is simply a finance option with a non-appropriation clause for a new vehicle. Okay? Buying vehicles, we're honored to help you. Honored to help you. I can't get you a police car tomorrow. I can't do that. But I may have vehicles. I'm not here to sell you a vehicle, right? But we're nothing but honored to serve our cities and municipalities with the vehicle needs. But the timing of getting one in a quick manner wouldn't happen when it goes to police car. But Blue Fusion offered the same program. You've already talked with them. I think somebody has here. Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
Any more questions for Mike?
Good.
Thank you, Mike. We
Right,
appreciate
I'm
it.
going to tell you all about it, okay? Hope that helps the city.
It does.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Take care.
You betcha.
So Larry has been
I
talking,
will.
seen him and you did it.
Yeah, he's still going strong.
I bet he is. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, you want to do that? Yeah. Next up is Alliance.
And this was in your report.
You missed the prior meetings, I believe. You may not even have this. I'll give you a copy of it.
And I do not have any more. I did not bring it. I did not get to meet
Barbara.
or Diane. I did not get to meet you at the last meeting. I was fortunate enough to meet Anthony, Mary, and Trevor at the last meeting. I've spoken with Mike 3 or 4 times now, probably.
Yeah, he originally started speaking with the former, what they basically do, I'll suggest that real quick, is they take over the water, sewer side of it. Now, they don't adjust the rates or anything like some of the other companies out there, but they would basically take over for vehicles, water, sewer, streets, mowing, and anything else that comes along.
Full public works, push snow, everything. We do not purchase anything. We are working for the city. The city retains 100% ownership. The city still sets all the wastewater rates, all the water rates. That's still a decision that this board and council makes. But we work for municipalities and water districts and sewer districts to provide certified operators, professional management, professional operations. We offer employment to existing city staff. They would become Alliance employees. We train them. We have a safety program we put them through. As I said at the last meeting, I started out working for a water district in 1990. They contracted with Alliance in 2001. I was a transfer employee, and when I went to work for Alliance, all of my time that I had spent with the water district transferred to Alliance, so I didn't lose anything as far as benefits. The years I put in, counting towards vacation, health care, 401k, we offer all of that to our employees. Just trying to think. And I don't know if you all have seen the draft agreement or not.
And I'll get you guys a copy.
And there is I've given the mayor and the council a price for the first fiscal year. Included in that price would be 2 vehicles that would be dedicated to the City of Dixon. And you was talking about service trucks, so in that lump sum for that first fiscal year, there's 2 trucks included in that. They would be maintenance vehicles for the city.
And then your maintenance of keeping your gas and all.
Yes, yes.
And what was that sum?
I believe what we came up to, don't quote me exactly, I believe it's 28,000 a month, right? I believe it's 27.
Now, does that provide for the water and sewer maintenance?
There is a repair limit and a chemical limit in there. So what that is, we set a number to start off with. And then if there's funds left over at the end of the fiscal year, we're going to return those funds to the city. If we see that we're getting close to expending all those funds before the end of the fiscal year, you're going to know every month where you stand, where that balance is. But if we get a couple of months out and we see we may be kind of close on having enough in a repair cap or a chemical cap, then we would continue to purchase those, but we would invoice the city for that overage at the end of the year.
So let me make sure I got this right. You're going to maintain the sewer and water systems, is that correct?
That is
That
correct.
means you're doing all the repairs, if there's outages or breakages, or if there's a piece of equipment down, et cetera, you'll make sure that, like, let's say for example, we got 2 pumps down at the sewer plant. Okay, you do those repairs and everything else, that comes out of the $20,000 a month that you.
That $20,000 a month has that repair limit included in that. So we will spend off of that repair limit. And as I said, if we get close, if we say, we had 2 major breakdowns that expended, I'm just going to throw a number out there, $15,000. It may be tight making it through the rest of the year, but you'd be well aware of that before the end of the
My
year.
next question is, how does this affect our maintenance crew?
We would offer them employment. That's kind of how it started out. I started out in the same position they are. I was working for a public municipality, and they contracted with Alliance. They said I was leader here. I was the field maintenance guy.
That's another thing, we need new meters installed, would that be part of your program as well?
Yeah, we would install them. We would not purchase now.
No.
I would say that we can probably get the meters cheaper because we buy in such bulk all over the whole state. So we have found that we can buy meters cheaper than most municipalities can on their own. But we will install your meters, we'll read the meters. We're not going to do the billing. Lou would still be in charge of billing and collection.
You're just doing the maintenance.
What's that?
Let me ask you this, and it's kind of a trick or a rough question.
I'm glad you tell me it's a trick question before we get started.
Not a trick, it's just kind of a blatant matter-of-fact question. In the event we decide not to use Alliance, would you help the city in getting meters at your cost?
Well, we would prefer to be contracted with the city because
We probably wouldn't do the same, because we fail to be tax exempt at that purchase, or at that point.
Well,
It wouldn't be.
right, but if you're contracted with us, we still you
She's
should ask.
asking if we weren't.
Yeah.
But I think it would fail to meet tax exempt status, and we wouldn't say it.
Yeah, because basically we're buying the meters at that point, not the city.
Okay, all right.
Does the labor for, let's say, let's use the water meters as an example. The labor that goes along with the replacement of those meters, and will that be given at a better rate?
That's included in that price.
Okay, so that $20,000 a month
We'll put-
covers a lot of things.
Yeah, we'll put new water meters in, we'll fix leaks, we'll read the meters, we'll put in new water meters, we'll change out, work on lift stations.
So in other words, you're gonna have the sewer plant up to a class B.
And that's another thing, there's some things having to do permit that are going to have to be addressed. And we also guarantee regulatory compliance, and we are responsible for there's a violation, it's on us to correct it.
So DNR would come to you and say, you
Yes.
gotta break this with the fines money on you.
Now, I will say, if we have came to you and said, XYZ of the wastewater plant must be replaced so we can maintain regulatory compliance, at that point, we're going to have to talk about why we're out of compliance. But any, failure to take a sample, stuff like that, that's all on us. You're paying us to take care of that and keep the city in compliance. I think it was 3 weeks ago I was here, and I believe you were going to maybe have us works. Didn't happen.
No, and we'll try to in the near future. We've been busy as a city over the lead.
Well, there's one word we can take off the city is water and wastewater, the full public works side, so you can go on about your day jobs and take care of the other city business, but that all falls on us, which reminds me, I brought you, now these are just kind of random, but you will also get a monthly report at each meeting. There's one for the city of St. James. Here's one that we give to the city of Neosho each month that we work for. Here's one for Rawls County at Hannibal. I use Rawls County as an example because they break down in this report the water loss very well, and not only do they break down the percentage in this report, which we will do for the city, we also put the cost of water. So, and I don't know what the city's water loss is right now, but if it's, you will know we will find out what the water loss is, but let's say if it's 25%, we're going to calculate what the cost of production is for the city. So not only will we tell you that it is a 25% water loss, we're also going to tell you what that dollar amount is, what that equates to in dollars that the city could be saving if it's through meters, if it's through leak detection.
So let me ask you, are the water towers included on this for the upkeep and maintenance of those?
Now, everything that's sandblasting and paint, we don't do that, yeah. Everything that's part of the water and wastewater system and public
You're going to
works.
be one answer to DNR, and they've all the DNR's program.
Yeah. But you'll get a detailed report on the wastewater plant, what all the sample results were for the previous month, anything that happened in the distribution system. We'll get all the wells functioning again.
So pretty much, just to give an overview, so you guys have them in there. They do everything minus parts. So the parts in there, it's a little bit of the parts that would fall in that budget, but it's minute in my opinion. So that's where they would win. Yeah. So we still will have that cost of it to us if the station pump goes down. We won't have the labor side of it, we will have for the pump.
Whatever the city considers a capital expenditure is still the city's expense. Anything that you're going to, it's going to go on a depreciation schedule and you're going to depreciate out, that's not a true repair. You're extending the life of that piece of equipment. So that would still be a city expense. Like I said, the labor, the minor repairs and maintenance, but if you buy a new pump, the city's going to put that on a depreciation schedule.
How big of a crew would you bring in on your own, with the exception of some
We will offer employment to all the current staff, and if they all choose to be employed, then we will bring in a full-time manager to manage the operations. That will be the person that the staff reports to. That manager will report to whoever the board determines, be it the mayor, whoever. We accept 100% responsibility for all that daily operations. And I can't stress enough that through the reporting that you receive, you get more information to make better decisions on purchases and what's going on. It's like I said at the last meeting, for staff, there's so much training and so much that we offer that I think it turns a job into a career. So it's not just somebody working at a job every day. We turn it into a career. You know, we've got multiple locations around the state. If somebody, you know, for instance, if this gentleman decides that there's a local manager position open in Phelps County, we'll say, because we work over there, he must have bid on that, and he's selected, he's got a job to, you know, enhance his career. And I did leave some references, and did you get a chance to read all those? I think it was, what, St. James, County. Yeah. Well, hopefully we got a good report.
Does your services also include road repairs, snow removal, garbage?
Snow removal, it does not include trash. Okay, it does not include trash. But
No, road repair?
it would do minor road repair, like such as potholes, ditch cleaning, but as far as full resurfacing, that would be something that probably capital expenditure for the city.
Any more questions?
I want to piggyback off something that Mike said from Ford. We also, as a company, purchase within the city first. I mean, we are the community that we work for, so whatever we can buy locally, auto parts, all that, whatever we can buy within the City of Dixon, we're going to buy within the City of Dixon. If we can't find it in the City of Dixon, then we're going to reach out to the county. If we can't find it in the county, then we're going to stay in the state of Missouri. So very seldom do we have to reach out of the state, but we start local first. We don't reach out to Minnesota or Montana or wherever. We start local and expand out from there because it's what's best for the community. Because, like I said, we become part of the community.
Anything more? Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Where do we want to go from here?
Yeah, maybe we'll try to schedule when we're done today. We'll tentatively set maybe a time for maybe 2 weeks, and we'll sit down and have a forum about it and just open.
And I'd be more than happy if you all want to have a discussion prior to, maybe 30 minutes, and then I could come in after.
We'd have to decide. I'd say honestly, we probably want to have a meeting that helps pursue this meeting, something that's going to be maybe 30 minutes. I'd say this is a discussion that's going to take at least a couple more meetings. So we can contact you when we're ready to address, have an open session about this.
Okay. Well, I look forward to hearing from you. The other thing I was going to mention, the contract that I presented is just our boilerplate draft agreement. If there's things in there that the city attorney would like to see changed, we'll negotiate through that. I mean, that's just where we start. So if there's something that you'd like to adjust, we can talk, you and I can work directly or however to work through some of those questions, because that's not uncommon at all. That's just where we start.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Have a great
Thank
day.
you so much.
That was yours.
Next item would be business licenses. We have 3 of them. One is J&J Laundromat. Other is Dale Santrero. He does, I think, scrap removal. And then we have Collier Medical Clinic. I'm open for all of them, other than, in my opinion, Collier Medical Clinic has failed to keep the property up to par. They've failed to pay the bills on time, so I'm going to be, as a homeowner, I'm going to be at the no on them. So I'll be a yes on the other 2. But as far as the
Talking about
Collier,
utilities here?
yes. So,
Well, let's talk about that.
Okay.
On a 12-month average, how often is he late or?
they just now got their service turned on 2 years ago. After us having to go through repeatedly. So that's why I'm a firm no. They can't keep their property up to par. I don't know at this point, I don't know what they bring to our community. I'm one business that comes in our community that, is proud of themselves, pays, the bills, keeps the property, once or twice a month, so. Yeah, I'm gonna be a no on that.
So he really doesn't contribute that much to the.
No, I don't know, but and that's me as, so.
Yeah, we can figure that now, actually. Jack, doesn't it say we shall approve? So But we had the same recourse with anything else.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the 2 license from Del Sanchebro, and the other one is J and J or J.
J and J laundromat. That's the
J
laundromat.
Laundromat.
J and J
On the
as
country
well.
club.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
What'd you say? I'm sorry. What was the last part?
J and J Laundromat.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve Del Sanchebro and J and J Laundromat.
I'll second it.
Diane Schultz,
Yes.
Anthony Campbell,
Yes.
Paul Thomas,
Yes.
Mike Noel,
Yes.
Trevor Warner,
Yes.
Mary Wiles, motion carries 6-0.
We need a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make the motion.
Now, I have a question for you before we go into closed session. On the other business license, is there a time limit to, for this person to know that they're no longer allowed to operate within the city limits?
Well, I mean, without a business license, they should technically be operating, but we will let inform them.
Okay, I just wondered if there was a, you know.
Tomorrow, I believe they're there on Tuesdays, and I'll personally try to go down there and explain to them exactly the reason behind it. I have no problem with that, but at the same token, we appreciate the businesses. We're all subject here, but before second, I appreciate every business within our community, but at the same token, we need to be held to accountable. We need to pay our bills on time. We need to, make sure our buildings are up to par, not trees growing over them.
And they're compliant with ordinance.
Yes, that's the main thing. You have to be compliant with those city ordinance. Yeah. So,
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
I'll second that.
Diane Schultz,
Yes.
Anthony Campbell,
yes.
Paul Thomas,
Yes.
Mike Noel,
Yes.
Trevor Warner,
Yes.
Mary Wiles,
Yes.
motion carries 6-0.
It shouldn't take, guys, maybe 15 minutes, so if you guys just give us 15 minutes, we'll try to make it as quick as possible, okay? No, not at all, sir. Sure. Yes.
You didn't hear us talk to each other, right? You didn't hear us talk to each other, right? I did.
You want to go back in the order?
Yeah, we need one thing.
I'll make a motion to go back in the open session.
I'll second it.
Diane Schultz,
Yes.
Anthony Campbell,
Yes.
Paul Thomas,
Yes.
Mike Noel,
Yes.
Trevor Warner,
Yes.
Mary Wiles,
Yes.
motion carries 6-0.
Next item would be realty. I'll make a motion to table that to our next regular scheduled meeting.
Okay.
Second that.
And what is this? What did you say?
Table realty to next regular scheduled meeting.
Diane Schultz,
Yes.
Anthony Campbell,
Yes.
Paul Thomas,
Yes.
Mike Noel,
Yes.
Trevor Warner,
Yes.
Mary Wiles,
Yes.
motion carries 6-0.
Police vehicle would be the next item on the agenda. As we know, Marshall was hit on a head-on collision, which has caused significant damage to the F-150 that we own. I was hoping to hear back before this meeting from Woodburn, our insurance company, but I reached out to them today, and they still don't have a status update whether the vehicle was totaled, how much damage has actually done to it. So we're kind of at a stalemate for that. So I suppose at this point, we can go a couple different ways. We can start talking about a dollar amount to spend on a new vehicle, which we're going to have, in my opinion, no matter what, because Tahoe is in poor condition.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and lastly would be, we get another vehicle, in my opinion, that's half that vehicle, will be very well set. So my question to you guys as a council, do we want to set a dollar amount for potentially a new vehicle? Or a new used vehicle, or how do we want to approach this?
Oh, it's kind of hard when we don't know what insurance is going to pay, if anything.
I agree, that's why I
Why don't we just
know.
table this until
Well,
the next meeting?
We can also consider this, that the F-150, whether it gets totaled and we get a replacement cost, it may be lower than what it actually costs to replace it, nonetheless, they pay to fix it. it's still a live vehicle, whereas the Tahoe is, it's
So we're only looking at one vehicle replacement, is that correct?
basically, this is a fail-safe, that way we have one really good one, so whatever happens with the truck, we still have that one, and then we can,
Right.
we need to look at replacing them anyway, I think, but.
You also have a law enforcement tax that just passed on the ballot, it's gonna start collecting, and
Yeah, we've discussed that, Jeff.
you're also gonna,
Go ahead.
if you're gonna order a brand new one, I mean, it's gonna take, I mean, my understanding is
3 months.
4 to 6 weeks minimum.
And we could potentially use the company out of St. Louis, Loop Hughes, they stock them, in stock. I don't know as a council how we feel about spending $35,000. That's a lot of money to us as a city.
When does our
we-
law enforcement tax kick in?
It should kick in this month.
And we're also looking at your fiscal year, I guess that's what I asked Chief Franklin about, what his budget's looking for the new fiscal year. If it's in there, I mean, I think.
So,
Well, we'll get an idea once that money starts coming in.
we will have an idea. From what my understanding is, that would equivalent to, I think, anywhere from $60,000 to $90,000 a year. That's how much we've been estimating that will, equate to. I still think no matter what, at the end of the day, we have a truck right now that is wrecked. Our Charger is being repaired,
What's wrong with it?
so we don't know.
Don't know.
We don't know.
Do we have a maintenance program for these vehicles?
The maintenance program, Diane, was the problem being is it's not a maintenance issue, the vehicle went out there, and just to give an explanation to everybody, we went out to start it one day, and it said pushing clutch, it's an automatic vehicle, so I don't know any maintenance
Well, that
program.
has to be something in the computer.
So something's funky with the computers on it, so I don't think maintenance program would do that. And I even go back to maintenance, I think we don't do a great job of maintenance, but I think we do a pretty good job of maintenance, and that was proven with the Tahoe that has over 200,000 miles on
But
it.
it should be on a regular rotating program, oil change, rotation of tires, et
Well,
cetera.
let me finish Diane first, but again, we do the tires on a regular basis, we do the oil changes on a regular basis, that vehicle's lasted us, I think, 14 years. That's a pretty long
Pretty
time.
good.
Oh, which one are you talking about?
The Tahoe,
Oh, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about the Dodge Charger.
so.
Is that the one that came up with the plan?
Do we, I don't need to, go ahead.
Can we, I'm sorry, can we table this to our next council meeting to see what, if anything, the insurance company is going to pay, or what they declared as towed or partial loss? And then at that time, set the money, or set an amount for a vehicle that is a total loss, and to see what insurance is going to pay. And then I think at that time, we'd have a better idea of what to expend, and, we can set a certain amount, and then if need be, Gary can go to Loop Hughes and pick up the vehicle he wants.
Before we do that, before we table it, can we continue the discussion a little bit and just see where everybody's at on that?
So, yeah,
Is that your idea?
can I propose, this is my idea on you guys, since I don't think there's a way out of it that we don't end up having. I think that's what would be my opinion, and again, I'm no professional at that, I believe it's going to be repairable. But at that point, we're still down to 2 vehicles, ideally. I mean, at any given point, the Tahoe's coming to, so I think, in my opinion, you guys, and then, again, I'm open for discussion on it. I'm not going to exactly set them out, but at this point, if we say, hey, let's see what we can get for $35,000, and I go talk to our local banks and see what kind of interest rate they can give us, is that an idea that would be sufficient for everybody? So then we could use the proposed tax to pay that payment. That's what I would like to do, but I'm very open to it, anywhere you guys would want to.
Does anybody know what like a used dog from my patrol would run?
20,000.
Is that full drive or?
Two-wheel drive, all those are two-wheel drive. Some of the Chargers are four-wheel drive. There's a wait list on we reach out already, that's a highway patrol, there's a wait list on it, I think, a month or 2 out.
What about other options? I mean, is there other places to get them, like other municipalities, like auctions or something?
I will be honest with you, that would be my first point, guys, but I will say, after seeing the price list for the fleet program for these vehicles, I'll be honest, it's very, very competitive, guys. I don't think at this point, in my opinion, if I'm having any say-so or input on it from city level, we don't need cars, we don't need a Charger. That is 100%, in my opinion, useless to us. We need an SUV, we need a truck.
I
Again,
agree
and if
with
we go-
our, it'd be different if we were living in a city like Rolla, where most of the roads are paved in good condition. We've got a lot of gravel. I agree.
We go back to it, so let's say we use the program, okay? So we don't have to get necessarily a pursuit vehicle, but we get a truck, which has worked again for us for how many years, guys? So we talk about potentially going and buying a truck again, we buy that as a fleet program. When we can turn around in 2-3 years and sell back, and again, we're only out $5 grand, like you said. That's a
Because
pretty.
the only upfitting we have to do to a truck is literally just put lights on it.
And that's after lots of miles put on a vehicle,
Sure.
especially vehicle, police vehicle.
They need a car with, if you're replacing the truck, I mean, that has Gary, but I think they need a car with the cage in the back seat.
Gary.
Well, you need
Yeah,
a
the
police
marshal.
setup vehicle.
Yes, the marshal stated to me, at least if we got a truck or SUV, again, marshal, please intervene, but we could get away with a truck and SUV with a half cage, correct?
Yes.
That was our.
The half cages are recommended.
We've talked about this,
What does all that cost for the accessories to make it police certified? You know what I mean, for your tablets, for your lighting, for your bars?
$5,000.
What are we talking?
We're talking
To
up to
Transform.
After cost of the vehicle,
Right,
that can vary from $3,000 to $7,000.
that's what I
So,
thought.
I think we can get away with some of that because I do have a lot of equipment that is interchangeable, i.e. radars, radios.
But you would prefer to have a Missouri police-approved vehicle, would you not?
I think we all should want that. I mean, our insurance.
Keep in mind,
Are you stating that you do not want the truck, or because they don't have a pursuit vehicle truck, right?
Well, they do it with use.
Okay. But it's
And
good.
what is that?
Now, there is a $5,000 difference.
Okay.
I just talked to Mike before he left.
Uh-huh.
He can put you in a brand new truck with the fleet incentives for $35 right now. That's an XLT truck, just straight four-wheel drive truck.
That's not police equipped.
That is not police equipment.
but the thing is too, the whole point of that was he was talking about when you go to upfitting them, they're worthless. I mean, basically, they're worthless when you get done. If you
Not a truck.
Yeah.
You're inside that, not a truck.
Literally said upfitting them is what takes the value away. Nobody buys used police cars. or
He
trucks.
has such cars.
Police
Then he turned around and said trucks
Trucks
sell.
is different.
He said.
Yeah, trucks.
I think we might want to verify that because I think that's what he was implying there. was-
He has such cars. Trucks he can sell all day long.
Let's keep it one at a time, guys. One time, let's keep it cordial.
What do you specifically need, Gary? What would be your request in an ideal world with unlimited funds?
Ideally, unlimited. I would like 2 of the SUV interceptors in a truck.
And the SUV interceptors, did you get a price on those?
34 one.
But that's not updated to.
That's not updated. I think I can put all the equipment in for approximately $2,500. That is minus striping, which is $700 a vehicle.
So figure 4 each.
Yeah, but it's not wrong.
Because we don't want to skimp out on upfitting a brand new vehicle.
We have a tax base that can afford it. It's minus bid highs and fit. I just can't enter an agreement. I need your help to enter an agreement. It's just some sort.
And he's.
Can we do it in a staged out? I mean, if we replace one of them right now, and then next year replace another one, and then the shop for the next year will be one. I think,
Sure. We're driving a Tahoe and holding the door closed now. So, we can do whatever you want.
so we replace the Tahoe, and then next year we replace the truck, or we may have to.
My thing is, if the Tahoe is out tonight, I'm coming to one of you for a vehicle because I don't have nothing.
Gary, let's keep it cordial, please.
I am being cordial. What I'm saying is I don't have nothing now.
Are you going to use the funds from your law enforcement tax specifically for the vehicles, to finance these vehicles? Is it in your budget? Is that your intention?
The tax is not in the budget.
Is that not included in the budget, or is that
No.
separate?
It's supplemental to the budget.
Okay. Are you planning
Yes, sir.
But you wanted to, I'll say this, and I've said this to him too, we're talking about spending money that we haven't received yet. We have no idea exactly the amount. So I hate to spend hypothetical money. I don't go to the grocery store and buy a bunch of stuff and I don't know how much money I have in my account. That's where I'll stand with you guys, and I think that's how you got in trouble in the past, so
And
I'm all right with us spending money, but the same token, I am not, as long as I have any say-so, going to ever allow us to backstep to where the city was at one point. So I'm going to be very firm on that one, where until we see that money, I don't even want us,
that's money.
we don't have that money right now. That's my opinion on it. So again, I'm open for it, but that's a hard one for me to spend money we don't have.
Yeah. Well, we haven't.
So what options do
But
we
we
have?
do that in the library on our library tax.
I was talking. What options do we have here? We have the truck we can repair, and we have the Dodger that's usable. Is that correct? The truck can be, we'll find out from the insurance company if the truck can be repaired, and then we'll have that, and then we have the Dodger, just what we have, right? Until we can find out what this tax is going to be.
So if you guys want my opinion on it, as the way we stand, because I don't think we're anywhere in agreement on anything right now. If you guys want my opinion on it, let's have another meeting, maybe Thursday, give us some time to have an exact amount of insurance. We can actually get some hard numbers from Luke Hughes, some idea exactly what it's going to cost to outfit it. I'll actually make the phone calls. I'll find time in my day to do that. I'll talk to our local banks to see how much it would charge us to finance, and then maybe we can meet back either Thursday, Friday, or Monday, whatever you guys choose.
I like that.
And you also know that we buy these new vehicles, and insurance rates are going to be different.
I agree. I've discussed that with the marshal. That was one of my concerns.
But our maintenance budget and our fuel will also drop.
I don't know how fuel would drop here.
Probably in half, because I don't have a vehicle now that gets over 10 miles a gallon.
I don't think any other vehicles driving around city streets are going to be able to do it 10 miles a gallon. I would differ.
These ones are marked at 26, so I don't
For
know.
highway mileage doing 60 miles an hour, that where that's what they're estimated at, you are correct. But that's not doing city streets. It's totally different. That's not what that's for.
You're going to be lucky to get 12, I'd say, or something right
So we're going to table this till next meeting?
Yeah.
Get some more
Do
information.
we have a day that works good for everybody that we can schedule another meeting? I was hoping to have,
there. If we're doing it Thursday, I prefer to be late, I'm not even looking at that.
How about we do it Monday? Is everybody agreeable to Monday? What's that?
I can't do it.
You can't do Monday?
No, this isn't.
Tuesday?
Tuesday?
I think that's pushing it, guys. I won't push it out too much. Can we go for late Thursday? Can we do that?
That's fine.
Can we do it 7 o'clock on Thursday?
7 o'clock on Thursday. That'll be the only thing on the agenda.
Yeah.
That's fine, I can do it Thursday at 7.
I'll let someone make a motion, or I guess just table it.
I make a motion that we table the police vehicle subject until Thursday at 7.
No, second.
Thank you, guys.
Diane Schultz.
Yes.
Anthony Campbell.
Yes.
Barbara Thomas.
Yes.
Mike Knoll.
Yes.
Trevor Warner.
Yes.
Mary Wiles. Yes. Motion carries 6-0.
So it's Thursday at 7 p.m.
Thursday at 7 p.m. Next item on our agenda would be nuisance properties. I think this is something that's very passionate for us as a city, it's passionate for us as our citizens that we begin to work on. I think we've had the idea, at least I'll say, as us as a council, we've had the idea to start to work on it, especially if anticipating we're going to have days working in our heart of our city and kind of work our way out. I think we've done that. We've made quite a few contacts and tried to explain, the main downtown businesses cleaned up. I think we've had good success. We got 2 that we're having trouble with that we'll have to send out letters to, keep proceeding with measures on that. As far as, lawn growth and so on, we had the door tags. They seem to be working pretty good. Would you say that is correct, Marshall? I think we've had a good success rate. I don't want to say 100%, but probably 90% success rate by using the door tags, let them know, identify what the nuisance was, and they seem to be taking care of it. When I started digging in this, I didn't realize this, but what I've been brought to my attention just through the research is that a lot of the nuisance properties we have in our city are not people that live in our city. The people that live outside city limits or in other state, so that brings us to the next round of, we're gonna mail out letters tomorrow, they'll all be certified letters. I think we have, I know those number out there, so don't hold me accountable to it, but I think there's close to 90 letters. But remember, this goes anything from a house with a tree through it to grass that's 2 foot tall, 1 foot tall, as we see fit. So we're gonna start sending those out tomorrow. I anticipate within 30 days, we'll have a pretty good, reaction. And
We're gonna do follow-ups on this.
We will do
Because
follow-ups
there's no point
on
in
that.
spending this money on certified if we're not gonna follow up.
100% agree with you, Diane. So
Okay.
I think that's where we failed in the past.
Exactly.
Is we mailed out letters and then we never followed up with them.
Exactly.
So that's where I'll try to make sure that we don't make the same mistake moving forward. So again, and this is nothing, I mean, it's even good for us as, council members. I think it's just taking pride in our town. It's, clean up your yard a little more. This goes for me too. I run a business. I want to keep my place appearing nicely, so.
Don't hold my yard against me right now.
We just have to take pride. If we take pride in our city, I believe the citizens and everybody else will follow along with us. So it's, again, it's regrowing our town the way we want to, so.
Our
Do you have any
town's
questions
in
on
rough
that?
shape right now.
I think our town's doing pretty good. I would say, I think our town's in a good position right now. Do we have some eyesores? Yes, but I think our town is in a very, very good position right now, probably the best it's ever been.
I tell you what, the thing that gets me is when you drive right through the heart of Dixon, you go under the viaducts and there to the right is that abandoned gas station, weeds grown that high. I mean, that's right through the heart of our city. People that commute, go to Genesee, drive right by that. That bothers me.
I agree, that's one that we work with, so at this point, we're going to send that general letter, so.
Good.
Do we have any other questions on that matter? Questions, concerns, anything? Okay.
Sounds good.
As long as we do follow-ups, I'll be happy to keep
Oh,
going.
trust me, this job keeps me busy, and then some. Next item would be the lift stations. So my idea on these lift stations is, some of you guys know, some of you guys don't know, each lift station is supposed to have 2 pumps. We've got by, we were not in a good financial state by putting one pump in each lift station, or Rob and Peter to pay Paul for lack of better words. So what I would like to do is set aside amount, or each month, purchase new pumps to fulfill so they're all up to 100%. Then I would like us to actually have some of the pumps on the shelf, because especially as we approach the winter time, when it seems like that's when we start having real issues with them. So I would like us to have one, 2 similar pumps on our shelf. So when we do have one go bad, we can change it out, send that one back to be rebuilt. So that would be my idea. I don't know if you guys have an amount. I think the pumps are roughly $2,200 a piece, $2,225. So if we want to set a dollar amount, my idea was to buy one pump. So if we could set a budget of $2,500, or you guys would give me authority to do that, that would be wonderful.
Isn't there some five?
I think that, so the quote I got, and hold on, David, can you confirm that quote was $4,400 for 2 of them, right?
Just for 2, that's not the.
Which
yeah.
2 were those?
It's one for down behind the senior center,
That's the big thing to see.
The nursing.
Oh, you're right.
and
That's the one.
the other one for Andrews, and that quote also covered the panel box at Andrews.
Yeah, one's at Andrews and one's Senior Center, I think they're the same.
And even if we had 2, I think we had 3 of them, Daniel.
There's
We have 5 of those.
5.
No, but I'm talking about the ones that are actually only have 1 pump, and I think there's 3 currently.
I thought we had 1 pump in all 5.
No, the one at the senior center's got 2 pumps, the one at the golf course has got 2 pumps. And I don't think the one thing with the golf course, I don't think that one's hooked up.
That's actually 2 pumps, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
So it's Andrews and the other one is.
So Andrews and the other one just has 1 pump when it ashes.
So those are our priorities, probably should be.
That's right. So if we want to set an amount of $2,500 each month to where, so we could go 6 months, and I think that would get us up to par, is that correct?
It should be the fire line saying that's what it's supposed to be.
I think that's a good idea.
Are you guys in agreement with that?
Yeah, you want to set it a little higher, so
You guys can set it however high you like. I just,
can we do 3,500? And then
That sounds good in case there's a problem, or
just like a
whatever,
panel box on the wall.
deviates or whatever, right? Warranty or whatever goes with it.
do what?
We've got a lot of money flipping in here.
So the money would come, where, remember, we're at the end of the year too, we still have money within the budget for equipment to cover that,
All right.
so.
I just want to make sure we're not just going to go
Well,
There's a whole.
In the answer question, I don't think necessarily we're gonna have to vote on, I mean, that's in the budget, I think if we start compounding it, it's going to, but we'll have to create it always in the new budget. And again, I just think it's supposed to be open as much as we can. We'll toss that one out, I guess, I want to be open to get approval, so.
You know, like a children's bit, believe it or not.
We're basically just saying, we're just making sure we put back there.
Right.
It's all working,
It's
guys.
just a savings account, and the 3,500 is already justified within the budget, which doesn't require it to be amended.
Yeah, I just want to bring it to your attention what, you know, you can.
Trevor, I'm in agreement with your amount, you want to make the motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to set aside 3,500
I'll second that.
for the station.
You said 3,500?
Diane Schultz,
Yes.
Anthony Campbell,
Yes.
Barbara Thomas,
Yes.
Mike Noel,
Yes.
Trevor Warner,
Yes.
Mary Wiles.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Next item would be closed session, I would ask for somebody to make a motion, go to give a
I'll make that motion.
break for 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
I got one question.
Yes.
Has anybody made any decision on trying to get us a truck for the winter?
We can address that at this next meeting, because I was going to talk to you about it today. Actually, I should say. I thought about it today, I know it's something we need to do, especially before next month, so that's on my outlook too. Yes, sir.
Since Andrews came up, can you please provide a quick update, what's the status on Andrews and current?
Yeah, we're actually talking about it tonight, that's actually one of the next items up. So we're talking about it, so we have to go over some bids and so on, so. I can actually get with you tomorrow morning, if you don't want to wait around, you can wait around to whatever works best for you, sir.
Sure, I mean, we can be here. I just wanted to quick, I understand we got no money. I know time will get done this summer, but.
I don't think that's the case. I think honestly, I don't think it's the case at all. I would anticipate hopefully we could have it done within the next month or two. So that would be my ideal, plan of action for it. Definitely before winter gets here and they start to shut the plants down. So as long as the council agrees with us and we come to some common agreement after we discuss it, I would like to have it done within a month and a half. So
I have to do all the drains and all that good stuff.
yes, sir. Good. Anything else? I'll need a motion for recess for 10 minutes or so, give them time, well, we can just go in closed session, you guys want to do that, you can go back in there. Sorry. So you guys have to leave every time we have closed session, but, so, there, I do anticipate us having an open session afterwards.
You know the question,
Yes, sir, I've been down here a time or two.
and is the answer that you will have,
Yes, I anticipate we will have a pre-open session.
how do you say it? I'll wait around to see.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
I'll second it.
I thought we were going to recess.
Well, I'm sorry, that is my bad, because we've been having to leave and have closed session out here, but since we just had closed session in there, I said we just go back in there and keep our distance. No,
You
no,
didn't make a motion.
It's fine.
Suggested.
So Diane Schultz,
What am I voting on?
To go into closed
going to
session.
closed session.
Oh, okay, I'll vote yes.
Anthony Campbell.
Yes, sorry.
Barbara Thomas.
Yes.
Mike Noel.
Yes.
Trevor Warner.
Yes. Right, hey guys, if you guys would rather take work.
Nice to pull out here.
And what?
My air conditioning will kick once in a while, and I'll get hot.
We'll need a motion to go back into open session.
I'll make a motion to go into open session.
Second. So it's Mike and Karen.
Yeah.
Diane Schultz,
Yes.
Anthony Campbell,
Yes.
Barbara Thomas.
Yes.
Mike Noel,
Yes.
Trevor Warner,
Yes.
Mary Wiles.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Need a motion to adjourn? I'll make a
Oh,
motion.
we're gonna talk about it.
Oh, with the approval on the.
He's going to Thursday. For those for you guys.
Those-
Yeah.
Daryl's waited this whole time.
I know.
You,
It happens.
I'll make the
Have to
motion.
go back Thursday, Daryl.
I'll try.
I make the motion to adjourn, March 2nd.
Got my name right? Daryl?
I'm sorry?
You got my name right?
Yes.
And so we're gonna meet
Thursday, 7 o'clock.